Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Robbie Basel show. I'm doing this a day early because of the timing and everything that's going on, but welcome to the predictions for the Euros and Copa America. Now, today's video, I'm going to be going over every prediction for every game that will be played. We'll be doing a full thing for the Euros. We'll talk about some of the teams, the storylines, and same with the Copa America. So hopefully this video is not too long. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're not messing around. Let's get right into it. So you will see the knockouts that I predict, but due to a million ads on the site that I'm using to predict the groups, you probably won't be able to see the groups. So, Group A is Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland. So the first game, we're going to go over scorelines as well. I have Germany, and it's Germany and Scotland. I'm going to predict a 2-0. I think Germany at home, they're going to be the more dominant bunch. They're going to be able to do more things right. I think they're going to win this game. Then we have Hungary and Switzerland. I like a 1-0 to Hungary. I'm really liking this Hungary national team. They play as a very cohesive unit. They had a very interesting route to qualifying. They're a very tough team to break down. Switzerland, getting to that older bit of their golden generation where they're making World Cup quarterfinals, doing well in the Euros. It's a very old squad, not the best attack either. I think that's going to be one of the things that causes them to struggle a little bit in this tournament. Then we have Germany and Hungary. I like a 1-0 to Germany. I think the German national team is going to be able to pretty much walk the group. It's one of the easier groups for sure. They are home, so that makes it a little bit easier. But I do have Germany winning this match against Hungary. Then we have Scotland and Switzerland. I like Switzerland in this game. The five at the back, I don't think it's going to really work for Scotland. I have a 2-1 win to Switzerland. Then we have Germany and Switzerland on the last day. I think this game's going to go down to the wire. I'm really feeling a draw. I'm feeling a 1-1. I'm going to be honest. Because Switzerland, they're just going to play very defensive. I think they're going to go behind and then score and then just play defense. And then I have Scotland drawing Hungary 2-2. So the million left backs are going to be superior. But my group ends up being Germany, then Hungary, then Switzerland. So that is where I have the group right now. As my prediction, Scotland finishing bottom. Also, all of the predictions for the games and everything will be up on Instagram on Friday. So make sure you follow the Robbie Basel Show. So you see all the predictions. They'll be coming out on the day of the start of the tournaments. Because the Copa America starts next week. So we're doing it all in one video. So we don't have to make multiple videos. So we can talk about other various topics in the world, in sports across the world. Group B, Albania, Croatia, Italy, and Spain. We start off with Spain and Croatia. 0-0. This screams 0-0. Spain, a team that plays, I mean, they have a lot of young talent. We know what style they've played. They've had managerial, I believe they had a coaching change recently as well. Croatia, they actually, I believe, just had a big result in a friendly. So they're going to be playing, I think they beat Portugal. So they're going to be vibing, but the old attack from Croatia I don't think is going to do very much. Then we have Italy against Albania, an Albanian team that does not score but also doesn't concede. I have Italy winning 1-0. And listen, the Italians are going to have something to prove. The last time they tried to play or qualify for a major tournament besides the Euros, they got knocked out by North Macedonia in qualifying. The Italians have something to prove, and it's going to start here with a 1-0 over Albania. Then I have Croatia beating Albania 1-0. Another low-scoring game. An old Croatian squad. I mean, they're trotting Luka Modric out there. They don't have the greatest talent ever. Goalkeeping is going to be a concern for them, but listen, anything's going to be a concern for them at this point. Then I have Spain beating Italy, actually, 1-0. A lot of 1-0s. This is not going to be the group for the faint of heart, but I do like Spain in this game. The questions for them are going to be how they play with the attack, who's going to be starting where. They have a lot of great midfielders as well. They have so many talented players, and they play a they used to play a tiki-taka style. I'm interested to see how they actually come out with for this tournament. But using the similar logic and the players that they have available, I'm going to go with Spain winning here. I'm just saying this off the rip. Croatia's drawing Italy 0-0. This is another 0-0, and I have Spain beating Albania 2-0. Well, actually, we'll go 2-1. We'll give Albania a goal. So that's how I see this group going. I have Spain, then Croatia, and then Italy. I am not high on Italy. I'm not. I'm just not. Listen, it's possible with their path in the group stage that a third. If we've learned anything from these tournament predictions, it's very possible that a third place team makes it to the final and wins the tournament. I'm not mentioning anything AFCON, but I mean, if we've learned from AFCON, the frickin' tournament was won by the host who finished in third. So it's very possible that a team can go out in third and make it to the knockout, go far in the knockout. It's possible. Then we have Group C with England, Serbia, Denmark, and Slovenia. I love the Slovenian team. And you're going to be able to watch one of the best strikers in the world and from a smaller country playing this tournament. And that is Benjamin Šeško. He's going to be a baller. He's going to be the only reason that team is relevant at all. And speaking of that, 0-0 opening match. Denmark is in a struggle. They may not have been. They may be pretty much unbeaten for the last 2 years, but when you go out and get beat by Northern Ireland and you've been beaten already recently by Kazakhstan, I don't know how confident I should be in them, but I think Slovenia's lack of attack, not named Ben Šeško, is going to hurt them, especially against a defensive style like Denmark. I have that being a 0-0. England, I'm concerned about. I have them winning over Serbia, though, 2-1. The great Serbian midfield, I don't think it's going to do enough. They're also an old team, but they actually have some players you'll actually know who they are. Serbia, they have something to prove after a very disappointing World Cup. They don't do it in this match. Let's see if they do it in the others. I have Slovenia beating Serbia, so they're really not proving anything. I have a Ben Šeško late winner to carry Slovenia. So, I mean, right now I have Slovenia through 2 matches with 4 points, which I think is a lot more than other people are going to have. Then I have England beating Denmark 2-1. I think Denmark's going to go ahead, but there's possible front 3 combo for England. Just to name some players that could be part of it. It's going to be Kane in the middle, and on the outside you have multiple options. You have Foden, Palmer, Saka, Eze I think is on that list. There's too many players to name. That attack is going to look so good, and I think it's going to be one of the main reasons they do anything. To conclude this insanity, England's going to draw Slovenia, and Denmark is going to beat Serbia. So I have England drawing Slovenia 1-1 because it's England. They have to draw somebody. And then I have Denmark beating Serbia. So this group I have England. I have Slovenia second. I'm really too high on Slovenia. This might be my worst prediction of the whole thing. I'm just warning y'all now, because this is just a tournament that with anything can happen. You got to go with the team that could have the hot hand. I'm going to say that Slovenia, they don't know how to lose. So I'm going to say it's going to be England, then Slovenia, then Denmark. I'm still really not high on the Danes. Oh, and by the way, with these results and the goals for and everything, Denmark would make the knockouts. So Denmark is safe in these predictions. The other 2 are not safe yet. They both, according to goal difference, both actually have a goal difference of 0. Though I only have Italy scoring 1 goal and conceding 1 goal. So that'll be fun to see how that plays out. Then my favorite group of the whole thing, Netherlands, Poland, Austria, and France. I have the Netherlands winning the opening match. They have a lot to prove, too. Because the Netherlands, they have a lot of talent, but they're one of those national teams that just doesn't show it that much. I think that's a harsh way to put it, but they're playing an older Poland squad that's just Lewandowski and nobody else. So I have Netherlands winning their opening match, and I have France beating Austria. Austria is a team that you can watch out for to make some noise. They're a very cohesive group. They also just disappoint in qualifying, but they've made it here. They deserve to be here because they're a good team with bad coaching. That's how they've been for the last couple of years. Then I have Austria. I'm going to have them draw Poland. It's a very weird match. 2 teams that are very equal to each other that lack the scoring touch. I mean, Poland has Lewandowski but lack anything else. So let me put it like this. Poland has Lewandowski, and they have a decent goaltending. Austria's decent defense, decent midfield composition, no attack. So I'm going to say it's a 1-1. I think it's a fair result. And then I have the Netherlands drawing France 2-2. The battle of lack of defensive or lack thereof will help both of these teams. That also sees France and the Netherlands through. To conclude this insanity, France is going to go on and beat Poland 2-1, and Austria is going to draw to the Netherlands 2-2. So the end of this group, it's going to be France, Netherlands, Austria, and Poland. A very weirdly built group. And with this result, on goals for, Switzerland will be making my knockouts prediction. Congratulations to Switzerland. So the teams I currently have through, just for a reminder, are Germany, Hungary, and Switzerland. Group B will have Spain and Croatia. Group C will have England, Slovenia, and Denmark. And Group D will have France and the Netherlands. So there's still 2 spots up for grabs. Let's see how it goes. I'm just gonna say right now, I'm very high on the Ukraine and Romania. I love both of them. They're in the same group, which I'm very sad about. They're both in Group E, along with Belgium and Slovakia. I'm just gonna put this now. Slovakia is the worst team in this group and is not close. I have them losing 2-0 in the opening game to Belgium. And I have Ukraine and Romania drawing each other. I think that's a very balanced game. Both of those teams in qualifying, and just in any match in their history, in recent history, they just don't know how to lose. Especially Romania. They don't concede really at all. And you will see why I'm high on this team in a minute. But they don't have a lot of players you'll recognize, and that's a big theme with some of these teams. But at the same time, it's a very interesting team in itself. I mean, Romania, very defensive style. Ukraine, if you remember the last World Cup qualifying cycle, Ukraine won only 2 matches in qualifying. 2. And they drew twice to Kazakhstan. This stuff is unpredictable beyond belief. And that's why I love doing this, because, listen, I might be embarrassed at the end. I had freaking Slovenia to do something. But at the same time, no one's really going to get this right. I'm just putting that out there. I may get a lot of crap, but this is going to be... I'm just intrigued to see how this goes, chat, because it's a very unpredictable situation. But, yeah, back to insanity. We will next be heading... keeping this group, actually. We have Belgium beating Slovakia, and then I have Ukraine beating Slovakia 2-0, and I have Belgium drawing Romania. A Romanian team that doesn't know how to concede, a Belgium team that struggles in big matches. They barely beat Montenegro. Don't ask how I know that. I watched the game. The majority of that match, actually. And Belgium didn't look that good. If they're playing in any more of a difficult group, I would not back them to do anything. But here we are. So Belgium is going to draw Romania. And then I have Ukraine drawing Belgium 2-2. And I have Romania beating Slovakia. So this group will have 3 teams going through my prediction. It will be topped via goals for by Belgium. I'm actually fixing a result. I'm actually going to make it a 3-0 against Slovakia. So Belgium is going to win this group on goals for, followed by Ukraine and Romania, all on 5 points. This group will be nuts, which doesn't help any of our other protagonists. Because at the end of the day, all 3 of them are through, which is unfortunate. So we'll talk about the final teams that will be through momentarily. So, and then Group F. I'm also a fan of this group. And the team I'm a big fan of for some reason is Georgia. They will lose their opening match, though. I'm very sad. They are playing Turkey, a Turkish team that's, once again, Another one of those teams that's just on a downward slide. Same with Czechia, which is why I have them losing to Ronaldo in Portugal, though I don't know how much Ronaldo's going to play in this, honestly. It's very unpredictable how much they're going to play Ronaldo, because at the end of the day, they have a lot of good forwards. Their forward core is insane, and they might have one of the more underrated players on the wings in the entire tournament in Conceição. So I'm going to botch it, these freaking Portuguese names. I'm not great with the Portuguese names. They have Ruben Dias. They have a lot of great players in defense. Goalkeeping's a little bit of a question mark for them, but it's always like that. Midfield, really good. They have Bruno Fernandes and a bunch of other players that's going to take too long. The list, they are the favorites in this group, and it should not be close. Georgia is going to fall out their terrible opening match by beating Czechia. Yeah, I told you I'm high on Georgia. Portugal's then going to beat Turkey 2-1 because the Portuguese are inevitable, though it is under Roberto Martinez, so we might see something different. Turkey is going to draw Czechia. Czechia is getting a point. I think it's going to be against Turkey. And then I have Portugal beating Georgia because that's like the second easiest match. To settle this group as Portugal, then Turkey, then Georgia, and Czechia. So, who would be through into my knockouts? The best team going into the knockouts out of the third place teams, I can't believe I'm saying this, is Romania. Because that makes sense. Romania would be on 5 points. They would be leading out of Group E. Following them, we have 3 teams on 4 points. We'll be starting us off with Denmark. They will be one of your teams through, followed by Switzerland and Italy. So, which would set up these quarterfinal round of 16 ties, which is finally a time where we get to show the screen. So, GG's in the chat. I think this is the right screen. And it is. So that was the 4 third-place teams that we picked. Set up these games. So, who do I have winning the Euros? We're going to start us off with the opening match, Germany and Slovenia. Slovenia is not good enough to win this. Germany should win this game. They are the better team on paper. I think they win this game by multiple goals. They're going to be in front of their home crowd. It's going to be a raucous crowd wherever they play. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. I think Germany wins this. The next game I'm actually going to talk about is England against Romania, a defensive style that people are going to, I think, will become a fan of as the tournament goes on, going up against the English. England's winning this. They have the best team on paper arguably the best team on paper in the entire thing. When you have a team with Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka, Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, there are too many other players to name. They're going to be great. The one question I'll have for them for the entire tournament is going to be defensive depth at center half. Listen, their center halves, I think they only brought like 4. They cut Maguire. They cut a couple other notable players. They kept some interesting pieces for sure. That'll be a question later on down the line, which is, spoiler, why I don't have them winning the whole thing. So, I'm just going to be interested to see how they look in the latter stages, but I do have them beating Romania. Next one I want to talk about is going to be Belgium and Italy. This is the time for the Italians. I have them beating Belgium. This is one of the more favorable matches for the Italians. Listen, it could have been worse, but it also could be much easier. I mean, you could get to play Hungary, but they do get to play Belgium. And this is exactly the type of matchup they want. This game is going to be terrible. I think Italy will win this in extra time 1-0. I also, another prediction I'll get out of the way is France. I love the French team. They're going to beat the Turks. They're going to beat Turkey. Listen, I think this matchup is going to be one of the more interesting ones. The battle of the crazy fans. If you know anything about the French league and Turkish league, the fans are insane. But the stuff that will be on the pitch, I actually am going to be a big fan of. I do think France wins by multiple goals. The Turkish team's not the best thing in the world, but they're also pretty solid. So I'm going to go with the Turks, unfortunately eliminated in the round of 16. Next game we're going to talk about is Hungary against Croatia. I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'm picking Hungary. I am not picking Croatia. which might be semi-debatable, but I'm very high on how much this Hungarian team can play against better squads. If you remember, they were in that really tough Euros group back in I believe what was it, Euro? I'm gonna search it up real quick. I think it was Euro 2020. Were they in the group with like England and all of them? I'm drawing a blank here, chat. I'm just trying to like remember the whole thing because Euro 2020, which if you remember was in 2021, which is why this whole tournament and everything is like gonna be absolutely insane. Euro 2020 was nuts and was won, if you remember, by Italy. But the group stage, we saw what we would expect from Hungary. I believe this is what. Yeah, they were in the group with France, Germany, and Portugal. And Hungary was able to stick with France and drew Germany. They will not mess around. This is going to be an extra time thriller. I like Hungary. They're able to play well in big matches. I'm going to pick Hungary. I'm also going to pick Spain to beat Switzerland. Spain's just a better team on paper. They play similar styles. This game could bore people to death, but I'm going to pick Hungary. I'm picking Spain. I already talked about Hungary too much. Then I'm going to pick the Netherlands to win in extra time over Ukraine. I think Ukraine, they're a good team. They're just lacking some solid, consistent goal scoring. Their defense is going to be great. I think it's going to cause the Netherlands some problems. They just don't have that big-time goal scorer, and I think that's going to hurt. And finally, I'm going to pick Portugal to beat Denmark. The disappointments from Denmark are going to be eliminated by the Portuguese. I think the Portuguese are too good to not beat Denmark. That's where I'm going to go with for this. Then we have these quarterfinal matchups, which are very intriguing. I'm going to pick Germany to beat Spain in one of the more boring matchups of the whole thing. Then the reason I say boring is because both of them play slow styles, and it's not the most exciting match ever on paper. Despite that, they both have a ton of quality, and I think this is what's going to help the Germans. Listen, they're going to be one of the better teams. It's a home tournament for them. They're going to be one of the favorites. I think they win this game. I'm going to have Portugal beat the Netherlands, which will set them up to play Germany next. In one of the last hurrahs for Ronaldo, this is where he's going to shine. I think he's going to probably score at least one goal in the knockouts. And if I had to pick a match, I'd say it'd be get this one against the Netherlands. Listen, the Portuguese are going to be looking for something. One last hurrah, one last trophy for Ronaldo. And I think this could be the match for them where they can get over the hump here to get to the semifinals to face Germany. A match that you could really think either team has a good shot at winning. I'm going to pick France to beat the Italians. I think the French here in this situation, they're too good not to lose to them. So, I mean, listen, the Italians are a decent squad. They have good all-around talent. The style they play just ruins the whole thing. And that's why I even had them in third in the first place. So you can make the argument for multiple different things here. But I'm going to pick France to beat Italy. It's going to be a balanced game. I think it's going to go back and forth. But I do think a 3-1 result, I would say, for a game like that for France. This is where it gets weird. I am picking England in extra time to beat Hungary. And I really want to pick Hungary. I want to pick Hungary because they know how to play in big matches. They know how to do everything right. And England consistently bottle it. This is not where I have them bottling it because of who they're playing next. England wants something to prove. I think they're going to beat Hungary. It's not going to be pretty, but I think that in my prediction, they're going to beat Hungary, setting up these semifinals and this final. Off the rip, I'm saying this now. France is beating England. I don't know what else to say. The French team, with what they will have on paper, is too good. And listen, it's the battle of high-end talent. You'll have Jude Bellingham versus Mbappe in the battle of the future teammates. And we get to see them on the same squad next year. With what the French team offers and the better tactics from the French team compared to the English, I'm going to go with France. And then I'm going to go with the hosts. I'm going to pick Germany to advance to the final over Portugal. I think Nagelsmann and company, with the home crowd behind them, I'm going to say they go to the final. Listen, the hosts have to do something, and I think going to a final will be one of the big statements for them. They're going to be able to make some real noise. I'm very excited to see how they look on the field. I think, will go to the final, which would set them up in this final, which I would be so excited to see. France against Germany. This is a no-brainer, but this game is going to be absolutely nuts. I am picking France. And the whole thing in and about itself would be crazy. And the fact that we would have this final in the last game it would be very fitting for Toni Kroos and Germany to win this match. But the talent that the French have on the field is just going to be too much. I'm going to pick France to win the Euros against Germany in the final. So, real quick, we'll run it back real quick. So, the round of 16, we had these third-place teams. This was our round of 16. We had Germany, Hungary, Spain, England, Portugal, Netherlands, Italy, and France. On the quarters, I picked Germany, Portugal, France, and England. Semis, I had Germany and France, with a final winner of France, because that's perfect. So we have predicted the entire thing. And now we will stop sharing my screen. Let me just do this real quick. I actually love it. They actually have a PDF of the whole thing. That's kind of sick. I'm going to download it. But back to the video. It is now time to talk about the United States of America and company. Now, just off the top, I'm not going to concern anyone here. I am not that high on the United States men's national team for this. I'm not. Because if I was, I would be here with more energy. I would be talking a lot of things. I'm really not. And listen, you could be high on the U.S. men's national team for national pride or whatever, but they're not that great, especially with Berhalter running the helm, but we'll talk about them later. We have 4 groups. You finish top 2 in the group. You go to the quarterfinals, which you will face the opposite seed of the group that's next to you. I'll explain that further as we go. There will also be no graphic for this due to ads. That's actually not true. We can put this one up. So the other one had too many ads. This one doesn't have any ads. So that works. We will be doing the Copa America groups. So, Group A, Argentina, Chile, Peru, and Canada. Opening match, I think Argentina will beat Canada. I think that's going to be a good game, 2-1 result. Listen, the Canadians are not that bad, Chad. They're not that bad. They have a good amount of quality players, and they play with great cohesion. I just don't think, I believe they just got a new coach in Jesse Marsh, because their other national team coach left. This is where the slide's going to begin, and there will be some growing pains for Marsh. I think Argentina will beat Canada. Let me just make sure I think Jesse Marsh is the national team coach now of Canada. And while I am looking up this to make sure I'm not an idiot, hit the like button, subscribe. But Jesse Marsh, current head coach of the Canadian men's national team. There you go. Next game, I have Chile beating Peru. I have a 2-0 win for Chile. That Peru team looks so bad. I'm going to say they're the worst team in this entire group. They looked terrible, which is why I have them losing to Canada 1-0. The Peruvians, they've looked terrible. And I don't know what needs to change for them. Because they've played that same style they played, got them pretty well far. I think didn't they make the World Cup? Didn't they make the World? I don't think they made the World Cup. I'm an idiot because they were in the group. They would have been in the group with France. Um, no, they didn't. So, oh no, they lost in the Intercontinental Playoff. They lost in the Intercontinental Playoff, barely, and they since have looked awful. Argentina, then I have them beating Chile 1-0. I think Chile could be the dark horse to win this group as a whole, but Argentina with the crowds they're going to have are going to be too good. I then have Argentina beating Peru 2-0. And I'm actually going to have Canada, with some decent crowds, draw Chile, which would set up this group in the end of Argentina, Chile, Canada, and Peru. I think that's a very balanced group. Argentina's winning this group. It's going to come down to, can Canada actually still play? Which I think they kind of can. There is still a good bunch of talent there. It's just going to be how they look under Jesse Marsh. Then we have Group B, Ecuador, Jamaica, Mexico, and Venezuela. I'm intrigued to see how the Ecuadorians and Venezuelan national team look. I'm just saying it's off the rip. They are the best two teams in this group. And they're going to draw each other in the first game 1-1. Listen, they're the best two for a reason. Venezuela, a team that's a national team, it's actually never qualified for the World Cup, are one of the better teams in this group. I like them better than Mexico. Mexico blew that lead a couple of days ago in a friendly. They don't look good. Ecuador made the last World Cup, was this close to making a World Cup knockout. They blew it against Senegal, and they deserved to blow it against Senegal because of how that match was going. But they're going to be here to make some noise. Mexico and Jamaica. Jamaica is interesting. They have a lot of young players. They have Leon Bailey and Amari Bell. Damari Gray, I think, is going to be on this team. And they're very fast, and they play very quickly. Mexico, we just don't know a lot about that Mexico team. They're a very weird bunch. I do have them beating the Reggae Boys of Jamaica. They're going to be, I think Mexico are going to be in the better form. Jamaica, I believe Jamaica is actually playing in World Cup qualifying right now. Because I thought we talked about it in the last video of international ball. I think they're in this, aren't they? Yeah. They've actually won back-to-back matches. So shout out to Jamaica. They've only gone on and they struggled though against Dominica, so I'm a little bit worried about that. I remember them only winning by 1 goal, so I think they're going to struggle a little bit. Then I have Ecuador beating Jamaica 3-0. That Ecuadorian attack looks so good. I think they're going to win this game convincingly. Then I have Venezuela draw Mexico. So 2 opening draws, which puts a little bit of concern on Venezuela, but I'm not going to have any concern for them. You'll see why in a moment. Then I have Ecuador beat Mexico 2-1. I like that Ecuadorian team. They're going to be top of my group. And finishing second, because of this result, will be Venezuela. I'm going to have Ecuador and then Venezuela as the top 2 in this group. You got to go with the teams in form. Venezuela, ow. My phone fell and landed on my foot, so that's why I said ow there. But like I said, you got to go with the teams in form. I'm not doing this because I have any hatred for any of these countries, because if I did, I would have talked a lot of crap. But that's just not what we do on this channel. We have honest opinions, and Venezuela are in better form than Mexico. You just gotta see it. The Venezuelans are gonna be hungry. They're hungry to make the World Cup, and they're top 4 in the group, and their group in the this giant table thing. We'll talk about that eventually, because we do South American qualifying back in, I believe, September. But back to this. The Venezuelans are hungry. They have something to prove. A team that finished bottom, I believe, bottom 3 of World Cup qualifying in South America just 2 years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago now, does have a very good shot at getting out of this group. I think they do. I think they're going to get out of this group. And they would be playing, actually, Argentina, which is not a favorable draw for them. We'll talk about later. The United States of America. Oh, what a time to be alive. You know, I've talked a lot about this national team. They just lost 5-1 to Colombia. And I am concerned. Just like this opening result. I have them drawing Bolivia. I think the Bolivians are better than what most people will think they are. The only reason I think the U.S. has a good chance of getting at least a point against Bolivia is because Bolivia's defense is horrendous. Will be bottom 3 in defensive metrics in this tournament, in the group stage, and I think they'll finish third. At least third. You'll see where I have them in a moment. But the United States are going to get lucky. I think they're going to get an opening draw. 1-1, I think, is a fair result. I have Uruguay beating up on Panama. I have them 4-0. Uruguay is the best team in this group. They have a lot of quality players. They made it to the last World Cup. They played decent. They got bounced in the group stage, but they're still a good team all as a whole. I think they'll beat up on the Panamanians. I do have the United States beating Panama 2-0. The United States home crowd is going to be rocking. It's going to be awesome. I have Uruguay beating Bolivia 2-0 afterwards, so double 2-0, which would set up this table going into the last day. Just to make it weird, 1-0 win for Uruguay, but I think Panama will get a result. So I'm going to have it as a 1-1 draw for Panama, which would set up this group of Uruguay, then the United States, then Bolivia, and Panama. Panama's getting a result. I think it would be against Bolivia. Bolivia's defense, I think, will struggle against Panama and the United States, and of course Uruguay. So that's the group I have. United States finishing runners-up behind Uruguay. I'm very concerned about the recent run of form. Colombia, we finally meet them, along with Costa Rica, Paraguay, and Brazil. Now, I am worried about Brazil. They have interesting pieces on the squad. They're also very young. They actually were the team that beat Mexico recently. So let's talk about them. Colombia, their inability to lose is something different. Oh, and this result makes a lot of sense when you think about it. A 5-1 Brazil. Brazil's going to concede a goal in at least one match. I think it would be this one. Brazil's too good. Colombia doesn't score enough goals to really rival Brazil. Then I have Colombia barely over Costa Rica 2-1. A Costa Rican team that's not terrible, but they're just not that great. They're a good defensive team, but they struggle sometimes. It's very inconsistent in the attack. Then I have Brazil struggling, but beating Paraguay 1-0. I think that game will go back and forth. It'll be a great match. So Brazil and Colombia would be my two teams through. And then I have Brazil and Colombia playing a very predictable 0-0. That's a very predictable result. Colombia will play very defensive against Brazil. And then I have Paraguay beating Costa Rica. Paraguayan team that's not that bad. They do a lot of things right. And this is how my group would finish. Brazil, because of their giant win against Costa Rica, will basically park the bus, but they will still find ways to win. I have them winning the group, followed by Colombia, Paraguay, and Costa Rica. So there's 8 teams in the knockouts. It'll be Argentina and Chile, Ecuador, Venezuela, Uruguay, and the United States, and Brazil and Colombia. So yes, one CONCACAF team made the knockouts, and for me, it's the United States. But don't be surprised if Mexico would be the only one as well. So let me stop sharing my screen. And for the Copa America, the knockouts are, I believe, pretty self-explanatory. Which would be, from what I remember, it's 1A versus 2B and so on and so forth. Is that what it is? Yep. All right, so runner-up of Group A, which for us was Argentina, will be facing runners-up of Group B, Venezuela. And they'll face the winner of Group B, Ecuador, versus runner-up of Group A, Chile. So, off the top, let me just say this. I have Argentina beating Venezuela. I think Argentina is the best team in this tournament. They're not losing to Venezuela. So, the Venezuelans, they're going to have a great tournament, good show, but I think they're going to lose to Argentina. And then I do have Ecuador beating Chile. Ecuador, I think, is the top 4 team ranked in one of the 4 best teams in this entire thing. They're going to be through as well. I think my ranking for them would be like 3rd. But they're a solid bunch as well. A ton of good players. I have them going to the semifinals. Then we have Group C winners Uruguay against Group D winners Colombia. I have Colombia I will have Colombia in extra time to beat Uruguay. Colombia, they're on the up. Ecuador is like plateau going down, I think, a little bit. I think Colombia, in their recent incredible form, will be one of the reasons they're going to be so strong in this tournament. I have Colombia winning 1-0 to go on and beat Uruguay, which would send Colombia to a semifinal. And then we have this quarterfinal, which would be Group C runners-up United States against Group D winners Brazil. This is the last result you want. I have Brazil winning 4-0 against the United States. I do have it as a big win for Brazil. They are the best team in the group, the second best team in the groups, and in the competition as a whole, ahead of Ecuador, behind Argentina, because of the players they picked. They are question marks beyond belief for them, but I still think they have enough quality to go on to win this match. I think Brazil will face Colombia in the next round. So our semifinals are Group A winners Argentina against Group B winners Ecuador, and then we have Group D winners Brazil against Group D runners up Colombia. First match, Ecuador against Argentina. What a weird game this is. I have Argentina in East Rutherford. They're going to go on to advance to Miami. But it's not going to be pretty. It's kind of going to go like the World Cup semifinal a little bit. I have this game going to extra time and Argentina winning in extra time. Ecuador have a lot of quality. They play a good style of play. They have a lot of quality players on the wings and the attack. Midfield, they're a very balanced group. I don't really think there's one part that outshines the other. They also played in a decently difficult World Cup group for their standards and got really unlucky because of set pieces. I think they'll fix that, but I think Messi will score at least one, and Argentina will go to the final. And then we have Group D winners Brazil against Group D runners-up Colombia, a rematch of the group stage. A result that it had is a 1-1, a 0-0, correction, excuse me, 0-0. I think this game goes to penalties, and listen, both of these teams suck, I believe, at penalty shootouts. Brazil lost on penalty, I believe, late or on penalty. I don't really remember. Colombia did not make the last World Cup. I have Brazil in penalties. I think it'll be a struggle. Both teams will go. I think it'll be a 1-1 going to penalties. I think Brazil is through on penalties, which sets up our final of a Super Classico between Argentina and Brazil. Two best teams in the best tournament in the Western Hemisphere. Who comes out on top? I have Argentina winning the Copa America. I want it to be Brazil. I want to pick Brazil. But Argentina are just better than Brazil right now. I think Argentina, their ability to perform in these major tournaments gives them the advantage to go on to win the whole thing. So, just to recap, I have my Euros champion was France. I know, not original, though I do have some interesting picks. And then for the Copa America, I have a Super Classico final, which will be won by Argentina. All of the predictions will be going up on Instagram, so you can get a screen. I'll make sure to have a picture of every group, including my knockouts bracket, go up on Instagram, so you guys will be able to check all that out. But that's the end of today's episode. An episode that had two major tournament predictions. Next episode, we'll be breaking down updates from... Actually, hold on. We have one more thing to talk about. My mistake, ladies and gentlemen. We have golf to talk about. I almost forgot. Welcome to the U.S. Open. We are going to predict this today. Let's give some odds for Pinehurst. Now, I've never watched the tournament here, but I'm going to go with just vibe picks this time. But a very interesting board. A lot of good players. Who's going to beat Scotty Scheffler is really the talk of the town. So who do I like in this major? Welcome to Pinehurst. You know, Pinehurst number 2 is a very interesting course. It's a very link-style course. So I'm going to be favoring some Europeans here this go around. I'm just looking through the odds again because I want to make sure that I'm not stupid and forget. They actually they have it to 1 odds now, so it's actually a little bit different than last time. But I still have the same idea as I usually would. So, who do I like? My two favorites to win this tournament will be Victor Hovland and Colin Morikawa. Colin Morikawa, who's played well on links before, this close to winning the Memorial last week. And I'm going to kind of go with the similar logic on why people picked Xander to win the PGA. It was this close to winning the tournament before the PGA. Won the PGA. I'm going to go with similar logic with Colin Morikawa. And then you got to go Hovland here. Hovland's performed well in U.S. Opens before, to my knowledge at least. I mean, he played in his first one as an amateur. He was the top amateur at the tournament. And he was one of the few amateur, I think, or the only amateur to actually make the cut and actually put up a competent score. So I'm going to go with Hovland and Morikawa. And then my reach picks to... Remember, these are for people I think can maybe scratch the top 10. Last time we actually nailed this. Well, one of them we nailed, and that was Sahith Theegala. This time, we're going to go... Ooh, this is a tough one. The Super Reach, I don't even know how I'm going to go with the Super Reach this time. Because there's so many people you could pick with the Super Reach. I mean, you could pick the worst player here and say they're going to do well. Where is he? I got to find this one person because I feel like he would be the one to do it. So Reach pick number 1, chat. We're going to do people with... What's the odds go to? We'll go with like 90 to 1 or worse. Well, that's what we'll go with. Thomas Dietrich would actually be a decent pick for this. Damn, this is actually... Akshay Bhatia, another very young player. I think he'd be another good pick for this. But long hitters are a type of person that would play well at this type of course. I'm going with a repeat pick from a couple tournaments ago. That's Ryan Fox. So I'm going to go Ryan... Sorry, I just dropped my phone again. Ryan Fox is going to be one of my reach picks at 175 to 1. And this is for only people who I think could maybe crack the top 10. My other one? Let's go with... Interesting. Thomas Dietrich. I want to pick... Let me just look up his recent form. Because I haven't paid enough attention to golf recently. So, the 31-year-old is actually, I thought, was in decent form this season. I'm just taking a look at tournaments played. I mean, he finished tied for 4th at Valhalla. He's had some decent tournaments in the past. He's made the last 2 cuts. I'm going to go for like a top 15 type finish for Thomas Dietrich. I think it will be the person this go around. So my favorites, let's just go over them again, were Hovland and Morikawa. And my sleeper, who will be trying to make the top 10, will be Thomas Dietrich. And then my other one was... I'm just trying to remember who my other one was. And Ryan Fox. So that's my predictions. This is the only time I'm going to be able to talk about the tournament at all. Possibly on Friday, but I just don't know. Because we have some other things to talk about. Other notes from sports this weekend. We had the Stanley Cup Finals begin. I hope you guys liked that last episode with Cam. Panthers won Game 1. Game 2 is actually on the day of recording, which is going to be the day after this video goes live. Day before this video goes live, my mistake. Carlos Alcaraz won the French Open, as expected. I said whoever's going to win between him and Sinner wins the whole thing. It was a good semifinals and a great final. And Iga Swiatek did go on to win the Women's French Open. World Cup qualifying recap and more to come on Friday. But for now, I'm Robbie Basel. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Robbie Basel Show. Once again, all predictions for the Copa America and Euros will be live on the day of the start of the tournament at noon. So, or around that time. But for now, once again, I'm Robbie Basel saying so long. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.